Yeah, what is quickly the update from Liverpool on this situation? Then we'll get to the analysis.
Yeah, look, I mean, typical Jurgen Klopp and typical of most managers, really, what they don't want to commit to a lot, in the aftermath of a game, highly charged, highly fueled, high energy environment. Um, and we know that, what maybe on the surface could look like a minor or a small setback may not be the case. Case in point, Matai Vidra ruptured his ACL, his anterior cruciate ligament, and plays 60 plus minutes through that game. And it wasn't until he went for imaging after that they realized the severity of that problem that could keep him out for the remainder of the calendar year. So, I would always take those post-match comments with a pinch of salt. First and foremost, players will be sent for imaging. Typically over the next 24 to 48 hours, with it being a Sunday, would maybe expect that to be on Monday. And that's often considered the gold standard, of diagnostics to sort of determine the severity of that problem. Now, from looking at the incident or the mechanism, as it were, we can ascertain that obviously it was a non-contact injury. Now, those are the ones that we tend to worry about, because we know inherently we're looking at maybe some kind of soft tissue or a muscle pull or a strain. Secondly, we look at the gravity of the game. It's an FA Cup final. It's a big one. Players want to be a part of that. They want to play at Wembley, especially when the game is finely balanced as it was at nils each. And also, don't forget, it was Mo Salah's former club, Chelsea, so he may feel that he had a point to prove. So, you take that into consideration. Thirdly, we're talking about a player who has high tolerances for playing a high number of rolling minutes. He's a player that does play on some of his best football when he's at the peak, of those rolling minutes, high minutes. He's robust. So he's not a player that likes to miss a lot of games. We often see, I know Jurgen Klopp out 2 out of the last 3 Premier League games, we've seen him on the bench. That's probably more just a little bit of management. And also, you consider the likes of Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz as well. You're juggling 3 places with 4 players there. So, there's things to consider there. So when Mo Salah goes down, and there's an indication that there's a slight issue, I think it was with the right groin area region, the adductor, as it were, then you are worried. You're concerned at that point.
Let's have a look at the footage then, Ben, because I think people will be interested, kind of almost your blow-by-blow analysis, because this is the kind of thing that we do day to day, just for people to understand. So we'll bring it up on screen now, and I think you can see as well, Ben. So, like you said, it was non-contact. He's sitting on the turf, and then, what is the analysis going on here?
Yeah, so you have Chris Morgan, who's coming on the pitch. They will be watching that game in real time, and then they may also revert to some video footage, which has been recorded. So they will be analysing that, and they will be looking for a mechanism. And of course, as he's approaching Mo Salah on the pitch, he will have a fairly good understanding or idea of what's going on. And you see sort of more point to the right-hand side of his inner thigh there as Chris was coming out to talking to him. And he's obviously indicating that we've had a little bit of some discomfort, of some pain on that right-hand side. Now, Chris is doing some passive testing here. So he's checking out, what the issue is, what the pain sort of level is, the threshold, doing some tests. And from that, he's helping determine whether, Mo is able to continue or not. Now, because we have such a short time frame to be able to do all of this, and because it's a high pressure environment, it's an FA Cup final, the eyes of the world. And then also, you're also thinking of the bigger picture. You're maybe thinking of the Premier League, with Southampton coming up next, and a Champions League final where Mo Salah will feel he's got some unfinished business with Real Madrid. Those discussions there will be player-led. So, while Chris is doing his tests, he's saying to Mo, are you fit? Can you continue? How do you feel? Do you want to give it a try? Should we go on? Or, should we take you out as a precaution? Now, Jurgen Klopp's looking, he'll be in discussions with Chris, through the headsets. They will be looking at the bench. He's probably at that point saying, Diego Jota, get yourself stripped, get yourself warmed up. We're going to put you out and we'll take Mo Salah off. Like I say, hopefully at this stage, it's more of a precautionary measure, but it's not maybe until the cold light of day where you can really sort of ascertain the severity and the extent of that problem. And like I say, once imaging as well will help to confirm that.
And just a final question then, Ben, on the Mo Salah one. Obviously, we're dedicating a lot of time to it because it is, you know, the most owned player, the biggest player in the Premier League this season for points. The fact that he's walked off unaided, he's not been taken off on a stretcher or anything, you know, they're not even carrying him off, you know, arm in arm or something like that. Does that mean that maybe it's not as bad? Is it more precautionary, or does that is that not an indicator at all? Do not read into that too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that. To be honest, the fact that he's went off under his own steam, like I say, you're in a highly charged, highly pressed environment. The testosterone's flowing, you know, so there's a lot of adrenaline, you know, pumping through those veins there, and that will help ease the pain. What I would say is, and I can't go too much into this, but there may be questions about why Jurgen Klopp may be risking or putting players out in games, you know, maybe at the risk of, you know, potentially suffering setbacks because of fatigue and because of being overloaded. Expect some news out maybe over the next week that Liverpool have been doing some great work behind the scenes and working with the players now for well over the last season and trying out some new techniques and some new technologies with regards to maintaining and trying to ensure that the players are fit and healthy and not risked unnecessarily. I can't say any more than that. It's something I have been involved in, but there will be a big announcement from the club and some of the big major media outlets, like I say, possibly over the next week or so, just to give some kind of sort of insight into how Liverpool have been working and managing those players over the last season.